Yeah.
Okay, I think that his network is giving him some issues. Now remember that to prevent deceit at home during the Anambra State gubernatorial elections, the churches, the traditional rulers who came together, and some other prominent Igbo leaders came together and promised the indigenous people of Biafra, the IPOP group, that they were going to make sure to do everything within their power to champion for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, that's the group leader. And you can see that they are making good on their promise by trying to visit the president and trying to see how that is possible. But like the president explained to the delegation, he said that during his administration, he has tried not to participate or get involved in judicial matters. He also explained that the consequences, or rather the situation surrounding the arrest of Mazi Kanu, was something that should be handled by the court. And in his words, allowing Mazi Kanu to
I'm back.
actually
I'm back.
have,
Sorry, I have a network issue. I'm back.
yes, okay, let me just conclude what I was trying to say. Now, according to the president, the circumstances surrounding the arrest of Mazi Kanu is something that the judicial arm of government should be able to take care of. And in his words, him standing a fair trial is already a privilege. But we'll talk more about some of the um, choice of words and some of the president's action. But let us hear from Alwan Hassan. Alwan, what do you think about the turn of events today?
Yeah, that's a blunder on the part of the so-called Igbo leaders. You see, in the first place, they are going to seek a release of a criminal, someone that has incited the public and has made the southeast now turn to what Shekau has turned northeast to. I was in Anambra as recent as during this election, and I was in Anambra as far back as 2014, 2015, 2016. I have seen how peaceful, I know how peaceful Anambra and Southeast is, and I know how it is today. So why would they now go, okay, if they release him, can they be able to tame him? Someone that they couldn't tame, somebody that has a radio station that is inciting ignorant Igbos, ignorant Nigerians. They're going there to say that they want him released unconditionally with all those criminal incitements. No, please. It's just like what this Sheikh is doing, Gumi. They are not different from what Gumi is doing. Nnamdi Kanu should be dealt with. Nnamdi Kanu should face the wrath of the law. He incited people during the NSAS. He kept on inciting ignorant people, ignorant Nigerians, to go and kill and maim people in the southeast. What sort of nonsense is that? I see it as just a blunder on their side. They have never gone to the president to seek for anything good for the Igbos. They are going to the president in search for the release of a criminal. I don't see that as anything good. And in fact,
Okay,
it is a shame. It is a shame on their part. They have never gone to the president to seek for anything good for their region. They're going to the president to seek for the release of a criminal, someone that has been killing people, inciting people to kill people. Everything we see, every death that comes from the southeast today is by the hands of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOP. And you want him to be released? Are they promising they can
okay.
be able to kill him?
Remember that you can join this open discussion simply by raising up your digital hand, and will allow as much questions and comments as possible. Now, Mr. Hassan, remember
Yeah.
that one of the conditions for the IPOB retrieval, traction of their sister's home order, was that the Igbo leaders were going to do everything within their power to try to release this group, to try to release their leader, Nnamdi Kanu. And also, according to Chief Amici, Nnamdi Kanu is someone that the Igbo leaders can talk to and he would listen. I'm not talking about taming. I don't think he's a wild animal and you need to tame him. But he is open to conversation and dialoguing. Now, shouldn't the president attempt to release, or rather release this leader, for peace to reign.
His crime, my sweetheart, his crime is a crime against the state, not against the president. His crime is crime against the Nigerian state. So it is not in the president's purview to tell the DSS to release Nnamdi Kanu.
Now, but we've also seen situations where members of the Boko Haram group have been released after a reformation.
I don't support the government releasing any Boko Haram member. People that have killed people, you are now uniting them and releasing them to the public. You think there will ever be peace in the Northeast? So if it has happened, it is. So, but that's the reason why you now want to release your own Boko Haram in the Southeast. Stop copying. You end up putting yourselves in trouble. If it has happened in the Northeast, it is wrong. If it has happened in the Northeast, it is wrong. We don't want it to happen, and we don't want it to happen anywhere again. Stop copying stupid things like that. Nobody is in support. Nobody in his right senses is in support of the release of Boko Haram members. What nonsense is that?
Mr. Hassan, okay. I saw the hand of Kenny Major. Kenny Major, I saw your hand up and now it's down. Let us go to Honorable Awa Nnamdi Sunday. Honorable, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, my sister.
Good evening.
I want to really ask the man that is talking, what is the crime of Nnamdi Kanu? What is his crime? That they kept him there. He was able to escape from when they wanted to kill him in Umuahia. He escaped to save his life. Had it been they killed him, would you be saying what you are saying now?
Mr. Hassan, before we go back to Mr. Hassan, let us hear from Kenny Major. Kenny.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to say that I commend the efforts of the Igbo leaders for taking the initiative of trying to talk to the president, because the DSS is a security agency that operates under the National Security Advisor's Office, and that is directly controlled by the presidency. So, and for them going to talk to the presidency or the president, and the president saying he does not interfere in the judiciary, I believe that that is a blunder on the side of the president, because that agency operates under his supervision and direct control. And not only that, the DSS, it's been months since Nnamdi Kanu has been renditioned from Kenya. And instead of bringing him to court and to the court and filing and making and beginning the process of what a litigation against him, they will come up with one or two excuses. Either they can't bring him to the court, or they will adjourn the case and they will debar the lawyers, the legal counsel from going into the law court, or debar the journalists and all that. So I believe that what they did was the right thing. I don't know about the validity of the unconditional release or that they are seeking, but I do understand that prior to this time, there was some negotiations of some kind of political solution that was discussed for his group to soft pedal and stop the seat at home for the Anambra elections to happen. So I would say that it was a good thing that the leaders did, but I will also say that the response from the presidency was not encouraging. It did not show fairness and justice or equity, because when you arrest somebody for whatever charges, that person must have his day in court. Not you don't bring the person to court and make excuses, or you don't even bring the person to court, or you just adjourn the case and keep adjourning the case, and there is never a day in court. You know, so this, I say that I commend the leaders, the Igbo leaders who took that discussion down to the presidency. I think that the onus now falls on the presidency for them to do the right thing. If they won't release him, give him his day in court. Let argue the case in court. If you say he committed all what they then try it, an open case. Let everyone see the locus standi of the case you're filing against the person. You let everyone see. It should be an open case. It should be an open court case. It should be an open case that everyone should be able to follow. Yeah, people saying that the Igbo leaders may be were irrational with their own demands. I feel that that since it's a political solution right now that they are seeking, that all bets are on the table to discuss, and that it's negotiation they have to come to, because someone just said something. What was the crimes that he committed? And if the government or the state has evidence of crimes against that he has committed, then he should have his day in court, and so that everyone can hear it and see that he also can also have his own day to defend himself and say what he did, if he didn't do it, or that you didn't just take someone and keep him somewhere, and once in a while you show up in court and then you disappear, and then you keep adjourning the case, and it's almost going to be a year now, and the next case will be in January 2021, and before you know it, it'll be 2023. So this is not, I don't think this is how justice works. I don't think this is anything to do with fairness, and I think that what the leaders did, the Igbo leaders did, is quite is commendable. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember that you can join this conversation simply by raising up a digital hand. Try to take as much contributions as possible. Mr. Hassan, do you have any reactions to what Kenny?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Sorry, my internet went a bit off when I like the submission of the last speaker. The first speaker was asking me a question of I've forgotten what he was saying.
He asked what crimes did Nnamdi Kanu commit?
So someone still asks these questions. Have we not heard of audios? If I can send to your WhatsApp to send to him audios of recordings that Nnamdi Kanu was saying, go to Tinubu's house, kill these people, go to these people. If you see police, kill police. Go to where houses are in the southeast, kill them. Go to Port Harcourt, go to social places, kill people. Is that not enough for him to be arrested? Let me tell you, my sister, I understand the submission of the last person, and he's just trying to be political and follow the path of justice. But see, this same mindset was the same mindset that some few northerners, whether elders or imams, had when the Boko Haram started. I swear, Boko Haram got all the support from them. They were saying Boko Haram has the right. You take them to court, you get them, you follow a process and deal with them. At the end of the day, they dealt with almost everybody in the north. Their major and biggest victims. The major and biggest victims of the Boko Haram are the northerners. And if the Southeast want to follow that part of supporting criminality by saying, what has Nnamdi Kanu done? We'll live to see the damage he's going to make in the country. I'm telling you, I have never supported any criminality, whether it be small, big, average, or anything. I believe in the path of peace. I believe in the path of unity. And I believe that anybody that is trying to tamper with the peace and unity of this country should be severely dealt with. You can't tell me that you want to question that person speaking or asking me to tell him what Nnamdi Kanu has done. If he's from the Southeast or he's in the Southeast, it means he's becoming blind of the realities that are happening in the Southeast today. Any killing that is happening today in the Southeast was by IPOB and the incitement and the incitement of Nnamdi Kanu. So he should be arrested for such crimes and be dealt with in accordance with the rules of the land. That is
Now,
my
talking
submission
about the
and that
rules,
is my belief.
talking about the rules of the land now, you would
Yes.
agree that the circumstances behind his extradition from from
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Kenya
He said something
was
like,
scheduled.
sorry, my sister. He said something like, if he hadn't run away, they could have killed him. I would like to tell that person that if they had wanted to kill him, when they arrested him in the African country, they kept him for 8 days. If they had wanted to kill him, they could have killed him and nobody would know who killed him. So they never wanted to kill Nnamdi Kanu. If the Nigerian government wanted to kill or wants to kill Nnamdi Kanu, they couldn't have brought him back to Nigeria. They could have poisoned him there and he would die, and nothing could have happened. Whatever
Now,
would
that
happen,
argument,
Yeah.
okay, well, I would react to that argument, but let us hear from Honorable Sunday. Honorable.
My brother, all that you are saying, you are just saying things out of context or the way you feel or believe things should go. There are people you cannot just kill like that. You understand? There are people that you cannot just kill like that. The thing is that I'm pissed off from all you're saying. And I think I have to leave this place before someone will say that I use a different word on me. You understand? If you want to talk reasonably. Because talking, I don't know.
Looks like you don't have anything to say. It looks as if you don't
Okay,
have anything to say.
No.
This is a forum. This is a forum where everybody will come and say his mind. I have the right to my opinion. And if you think Nnamdi Kanu has the right to his opinion, I also have the right to what I'm doing. So why are you saying you are pissed? You are pissed about what I'm saying. Say your own points. Give your own reason.
Mr. Hassan, let us let him talk. Honorable Sunday, please speak. Okay, I think we lost him here. Now, let me come back to you, Mr. Hassan.
Yeah.
You talked about Nigerian government having no intention to kill Mazi Kanu. Now, remember
I talked about what?
The Nigerian government not having intention to kill Nnamdi Kanu.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to make a point here. Remember the military action that was taken against him in his house in Abia State, and the consequences and implications of that action. Remember that some people lost their lives. Military came into his house, and just from stray bullets alone, some people lost their lives. Some people lost their houses just in action. Now, would you argue that such force can be deployed when the government have no intention to kill somebody?
So what you're saying is the Nigerian government has a plan to kill him?
No, what I'm saying is he might have jumped bail because his life was threatened.
No, but we're not talking about his jumping bail now. Are we talking? Did anybody ask me about his jumping bail?
I'm talking about the reaction of the president towards the request of the leader.
Okay.
Now, one of his reasons was that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail, and he jumped bail, and he has been inciting people to commit heinous crimes, like you said, and he mentioned the jumping bail as one of the reasons why the judicial, why Nnamdi Kanu going to court was already a favor.
Okay, my sister, he jumped bail. Excuse me. He jumped bail because he was scared he was going to kill. He was going to be killed by the Nigerian government. And when he left, there had never been a week where Nnamdi Kanu will not go on radio or TV to incite his people, to incite his followers. And he incites them to kill people. Is that a decent thing to do? Is that someone that the leaders will gather and go and meet the president to release? Why are we talking like this? Who is doing this to us?
Mr. Hassan, you'd agree with me now.
Who is doing this to us? No more, there is a problem. Let me tell you, there is a problem. You know why? A criminal of my tribe, a criminal of my religion is not a criminal. He is my own criminal living for me. That is the mindset in the country today. And it is very dangerous. I'm telling you. A criminal from my ethnic group is not, it is my own criminal. A corrupt a leader in the position of power is my own corrupt leader living for me. That is the mindset in the country. And it's a very dangerous path we're taking. Very dangerous path.
Mr. Hassan, one of the things that the leader said was there's a need to release him because it's going to ensure peace. Now, you would agree with me that one of the reasons why we're having this peace at home order in Southeast and a lot of killings and a lot of unknown government actions in the Southeast is because he is still in custody. Now, why don't the federal government allow him to have his day in court and actually allow due process to follow? Because after his arrest, he was kept in custody, in DSS custody for months before he was arraigned before the court. Don't you think that this is provocative for the part of the federal government?
I didn't get all you are saying. You want him to be released on bail? Or what?
No, I am saying that.
Or you want him to have his day in court?
I am saying that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I said that the Igbo leaders came together and asked for his release because, in their words, it's going to ensure peace. Because his stay in custody is one of the reasons why we're having unknown government and insecurity in the Southeast. It's all the agitations.
Absolutely,
now,
it's true. They are right.
Now, I am saying this, that if the federal government do not want him to be released, why don't they make him have his day? Why don't they arraign him? Remember that when he left Kenya to Nigeria, he was kept in custody for months. People could not see him.
Yeah. I support that. See. I understand what you're saying. I support that. I want him to have his day in court. I don't want them to be keeping him without going to court. Let the process start and let it be transparent. I don't want him to be kept.
Mr. Hassan, now considering the fact that it seems that the judiciary have not done their duties, right? That is why the leaders now are asking for a political solution.
I think it's not the judiciary. I think it's not the judiciary that is delaying this.
So what is the problem? What is the problem?
I think it's not the judiciary. I think it's on the part of the DSS. Now that we will be talking, let them bring him to court. Let them make sure that he doesn't miss any of his days.
Now, even if they're not going to make it. The DSS falls under the authority of the president, which is why the leaders went directly to the president.
That is what I'm saying. Just relax. We're saying the same thing. I want the process to start. I want the court process to continue. I don't want it to be frustrated by the DSS or the government. I want it to be transparent. I want his lawyers to be allowed to go to court. For God's sake, the government has a lot of evidences to indict him. Why are they stopping it? They shouldn't stop it. Let them just put it out. And in fact, let me tell you, whosoever is making noise, once they see that the process is transparent, his lawyers have been allowed to go into it, evidences are being pushed out, a lot of people will be calm. But when they don't bring him to court or they decide to create drama, a lot of people will see it like victimization. Do you understand? So I don't support that part of keeping him without trial. It's democracy. Bring him out, take him to court. You have full evidences to indict him and take him to prison. Bring them out, push them out, present them to the court. Let his lawyers debate it and your lawyers debate it. Whoever wins, the justice will always prevail. If it doesn't prevail, there is an appeal court. Yeah? Okay,
just before I let Kenny Major, I can hear you. I said just before I let Kenny Major take the platform, you were saying something about the people if they see the transparency of the system. Now, do you think that the people would actually trust a government that is seen to be biased, considering the way the action they took surrounding this whole Nnamdi Kanu's trial? Do you think people would trust the government enough to carry out a transparent investigation?
But at the start of all things, the government was not forming difficult because he was released on bail and he broke all the conditions that were given to him, the bail terms, and even fled. So which one is the Justice Department or the government being biased? If you're saying the
let
lack
us hear
of
from
trust,
Penny.
if you're talking about the lack of trust between the people and the government, that is a topic of its own. Do you understand? If you're talking about the distrust between the people and the government, is a topic of its own. We'll find a day, find time to come and discuss that. But when you
Okay,
talk, when you're talking about,
we will have to talk. We will have to talk about that because it's a serious issue. But let us hear from Penny Major. Penny Major. Oh, and before I allow you to talk, remember that you can join this conversation simply by raising up your show hand, and we'll try to accommodate as much opinions as possible. Penny Major.
Thank you very much. I would say that the government is biased totally, not just biased, but totally incompetent. I say this because Nigeria is supposed to be running a three-arm style of government whereby there is independence, there should be independence between the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive arm of government. Now, the judiciary has shown itself to be incompetent, totally incompetent of doing its own process. Now, someone has been arrested and brought before the courts. Now, the courts, the judiciary has not been able to continue its own process because it is looking up to the executive arm of government. That is the truth. And the people can't, no one has any real trust anymore on the government, because how can someone be brought before the courts and the courts can't or have been incapable of moving forward with their own process? And secondly, the executive arm of government, it's shown that the executive arm of government have been constantly holding on and interfering with this case. Why do I say this? Because first and foremost, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not extradited through the normal judicial process whereby criminals or people who are wanted, who have fled the territory, are brought back. He wasn't. He was basically renditioned, which is a form of kidnap. He was taken and brought back. He didn't pass through the Kenyan judicial process whereby there will be an extradition order that would be put in place for him to be extradited. So first and foremost, this is probably why the executive arm and the judiciary in Nigeria are reluctant in making him have a day in court. Because if they had actually started the process well, now this goes back to the first bill that he had, and we can all say it's debatable that he broke his conditions of his bail. And if someone breaks the condition of the bail, is the only recourse to send the army to go and kill the person, or to go and shoot up the house, shoot up the person's residence? Or why did the judiciary not say, you've broken our conditions that we gave you a bail and that you should return back, and they put him back in lockup? So they sent the army to go into his house, and he was fortunate enough to have escaped. And now they have gone to Kenya or wherever. They picked him up and brought him back to Nigeria. And instead of now going to let him have his day in court. If you have all the charges and all the evidence against him, what is stopping the government from really sitting down in court, saying it to his face, you have done this, you've incited violence, you have actually done this, you've done this, you've done this, and let him defend himself? The fact is that the government itself is totally incompetent. And so that is why I understand where these leaders, these Igbo leaders, or traditional rulers and clergy people will seek a political solution, because this Nnamdi Kanu is basically a political prisoner of conscience. And if the government says if he goes on bail again, he will break the conditions of the bail, or he will abscond, he will run away, I think that is just it's baloney. They're just making up stories, because the way they could actually file extradition orders almost in almost all the countries of the world and bring him back if they really have evidence against him. So I would like to counter what Mr. Hassan is saying, that the government is trying to give him his day in court, or they were just taking things too easy and they've been too fair and above board. They have not been above board. They have actually not been above board, because from the very beginning, they made these conditions or set up these issues that we are seeing today. And I would say that even the issues that are going on in the southeast part of Nigeria, it's a consequence of the policy of the government. If the government did not take this hardline role whereby they don't feel they have enough, because if I have enough evidence against another person, I think I will be able to sit down, bring it up to the person's face, let him deny or defend himself, and after that, we'll get to the bottom of it. But they have not been able to do this. And because they have not been able to do this, this shows everyone, it is very plain that they don't have the evidence that they claim to have. Because if you have it, you present it. They don't have it. Because if they have it, they will present it, but they don't have it. And the fact that they have continued to manipulate the judiciary has already showed the government showed everyone, the people, that the government isn't trustworthy, that you can't have your day in court. You will not have your day whereby they will tell you what you've done wrong and put it up to you to file all the charges against you, and you will defend yourself and all that. And the fact that they have also continued to debar the legal counsel from, where in this world will prisoners or people who are arrested, who are charged with any type of offense, not have the ability to talk to legal counsel privately? They don't have that opportunity. They don't give that opportunity to him, whereby he and his lawyers can deliberate on his case, and they haven't been able to talk. So right now we are talking about the political solution. The political solution is what brought us here today. Why did the Igbo leaders, or the rationale behind the Igbo leaders, going to talk to the presidency? And they are going to talk to the presidency because the agency, the security agency that is holding him custody, is directly controlled by the presidency. It is directly controlled by the National Security Advisor's Office. So this, when the president, the press release by Mr. Femi Adesina saying that the president said he cannot interfere with the judiciary is baloney, because that agency is directly controlled by him. The fact that the agency has not been able to provide him or give him his day, bring him to the court, provide the opportunity for his legal counsel to meet him properly, and come to court and not interfere with the judicial process. That is why these Igbo leaders went to talk to the president. And it shows that the president is not being truthful or straightforward when he says he can't interfere with the judiciary, because actually the judiciary is looking up to them. The judiciary is actually just wondering why the DSS wouldn't bring him to court.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Let us hear from Mr. Hassan. Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
You heard the submission of Kenny.
Yeah, I understand. I like his submission. I understand his submission, and I like his submission. He's on the path of peace, and let the rule of law take its course. Of course, I align with that. You understand? And of course, there is laxity on the part of the government. I agree with that too. And maybe that is why the leaders from the southeastern part of the country decided to go and seek for his release. You understand? So I'm not in support of that. and I am never in support of any criminality or anything that has taken any life of any such in this country. So I think, yeah, it's true. Let the court allow the processes to continue. Let the DSS also play its own part by taking him to court. They have a lot of proofs. Just as the last speaker said, they should present it to him, let him see it there and defend himself. I absolutely agree with that. But on the part of sustainability and effectiveness of governance, when you talk about the distrust between the people and the government, you are talking about the social contract. The lack of social contracts in our society is what has brought us to where we are. And that is a theory nearly as old as philosophy that we don't even use, So I think that is why I'm saying we should find a day to discuss that topic as a topic, not in this context.
Okay, thank you so much. I can see that Mr. Elumba's hand is up.
Yeah, let me quickly ask this question and see how our two discussants will deal with it. Today, when the Chief Mbazulika Amechi-led Igbo leaders visited Buhari and made this request, Buhari made it clear that the executive does not interfere with the works of the judiciary, and that since he became president, he has not in any way tried to interfere with the activities of the judiciary or to tell them what to do. Do you find this declaration by President Buhari credible? Do you believe him? I want to hear what our discussants will say.
Absolutely true. I agree 100%. You can pinch him and drag him on other matters. But when it comes to interference in the rule of law, you and I knows that he doesn't interfere. Whatever happens, you can never quote a Buhari going to settle matters of his government in the courts. He allows the processes to take its toll. Some would even call that as incompetence, because a few people will tell you that if you don't interfere in such processes, a lot of things will be happening that would even look like it's haywire, So, but everyone knows that this president doesn't even do that. He does not interfere. Neither his might even be too much because he won't even talk on the part of the DSS, advising or telling them or ordering them to take such person to court and let the processes continue. All he does is those are institutions that should take care of themselves, So I agree with him when he said he doesn't interfere in matters like that. Yes, he does not. And at some point, there is a problem if you don't do that. I'm done.
Mr. Numba, I can see your hand is still up.
Yeah, there's another gentleman I also want to hear his opinion briefly, if you don't mind.
Okay, Kenny Major. I think Kenny Major.
Yes. Thank you very much. I would love to say that the president's statement by Femi Adesanya is not credible, does not hold any water. Because I say this because we don't expect the president to go and sit in the courtroom. No one expects that. But we know that everyone knows that the DSS operates under the direct control of the National Security Advisor's Office.
Yes, I'm sorry if I interject here. He's not talking about DSS. The matter is now in the court. So Buhari said, I do not interfere with the judiciary. Let the judiciary deal with this matter that is now before them. Do you believe that Buhari does not interfere with the judiciary?
Yes, I do understand, but we have to go back to the fact that the matter, yes, is in court, but the fact remains that the judicial process is being interfered with by the DSS. And the DSS is directly in the Federal Security Council.
Do you have evidence that
the president chairs?
No, Dan. He has not answered the question. Oh. My brother has not answered
Yes,
the question.
I
Does he
I
believe
was
that the
trying to-
president? Do you believe that the
I don't know.
president does not interfere in judicial matters or processes?
The president, like I was trying to answer this question, the president does not interfere with day-to-day judicial issues. But the fact remains that an agency directly under his control is holding someone and not bringing the person to court.
Yeah,
and not,
yeah, exactly what I said.
interfering
Exactly
with
what I said. And sometimes that becomes a
with the
problem
process.
if he doesn't talk. Yeah, yeah.
Sir, wait. If Babagana Mongonu, who is the National Security Advisor, who sits in the President's National Security Council, who directly reports to the President, who controls that agency, is holding on to somebody, a citizen
but
of the
point of
country
correction,
or
my brother,
someone.
Mungunu does not control the DSS. They have a DG who also sits in the in the Security Council. They don't operate through him. Mungunu's role is actually advisory. He is National Security Advisor. The DSS and every other service chiefs do not report through him. Point of correction, please. They all have their...
If I will correct you now, I will say that the administration role played by the National
I agree with that.
Advisor controls the DSS. And this Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's case is actually, it's a political case. It's not a run-of-the-mill internal security case or some criminal shooting up a bank or something like that. It is not one of those run-of-the-mill criminal cases. It is a large internal security case that the National Security Advisor must be receiving briefings on this issue. You can't tell me that Nigeria went to another country and extradited or renditioned somebody, an individual, back to Nigeria without the National Security Advisor's knowledge.
All right, thank you very much. Let me quickly, because our time appears to be running out, let me quickly ask another question. Now, Alwan, seeing that this matter of Nnamdi Kanu appears to be, a lot of people actually use the excuse of his detention to cause a lot of crisis in the Southeast. Do you think a political solution is preferable to judicial solution?
Yeah. You see, that was why I asked at the beginning, those leaders that went to seek for his release, are they ready to tame him? Have they promised that they will tame him when he's released? This is the question I asked. Because, of course, it has shown to the world that they don't have control over him. If they really had control or have control over Nnamdi Kanu, then it means they were part of the problem. Done. This is my submission.
Okay,
I want a political solution. If it will work, if a political situation, if a political solution will work and stop the killings in the Southeast, I absolutely am in support of it. The other point is, and the other reason should be, can they stop him from inciting his people? There are a lot of ignorant people that are behind him, that listen to him, that take orders from the stupid directives he gives. Well, are they ready to stop that happening? These are questions we should ask the elders.
All right, but okay, seeing that, during the Anambra election, let me give an example here. A week before the Anambra election, it really appeared that that election will not hold. There was multiple violence, so much killings. INEC official doesn't want to go. And then the IPOB, being led by Nnamdi Kanu, started to distance themselves from the Biafra National Guards, who claims to be carrying out most of the killings. And then IPOB actually said people should go out and vote, that the sit at home should not be obeyed. And also several instances, Nnamdi Kanu's IPOB have also said they no longer support the sit at home every Monday. So do you see that as a softening of the tone of the IPOB being controlled by Nnamdi Kanu? And if that were so, will we believe Mbazulika Amechi, an Igbo leader, respected Igbo leader, when he says, you know what, releasing Nnamdi Kanu to me, I'm not a member of IPOB, but I believe that if I speak to him, he will listen if he's released to me. Do you think that route could work as a political solution?
Yeah, it can work, but I don't want us to take the risk, Dan. You know, it's left to the government to think about it. If it will work, if that will be the agreement that will work, is a fantastic idea. If it's going to come out and keep mute, keep short, and forget about all the agitation and the incitement, we're fine with that. We don't want anybody to be killed. I was in Anambra elections, and let me tell you, building up to that election, we knew there was going to be election. See, Dan, when you
Mr.
see
Hassan,
someone doing some stupid things, only when the government gives you the chance to celebrate. What I have seen in Anambra, with or without agreement from IPOB, that election must take place. So saying, yeah, of course it was passively looking out like it will not happen, but we knew it was going to happen. Do you understand? So I'm in support of political options if at all he will be spoken to and he will listen to, you know. I want the government to also look at it in that way, of course, because even the deadliest people on earth, usually you have a political solution to be looked at when you're dealing with them. So if it's okay and it will happen and they feel they can speak to him, they can go ahead and try it and see. I don't have a problem with that. There is nothing personal between me and Nnamdi Kanu or anybody. My only pain is one cannot just sit in his comfort zone outside the country and be inciting our people in the country, and you now be inciting them to be killing us. I can never be in agreement with such person. You don't even stay in the country. You stay outside and you have some bunch of ignorant people that see you as their leader. You just record a voice note, send to them and tell them to start killing people. And hey, they've gone to the roads and the streets and they are killing people. I would never support such a person, and I would never support such a move.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hassan. I can see that the convener of Igbo social cultural group, Dr. Mefo, is here. Dr. Mefo, we are talking about the Igbo leaders' request for an unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu as the leader of the Indigenous people of Biafra. And so far, Mr. Hassan has said that he does not support the action by the Igbo leaders. And we've also had arguments saying that what they did was right. But what is your take on this subject matter? Dr. Mefo, I asked you to unmute. Kindly unmute. It seems Dr. Mefo is not here. Dr. Mefo, if you're here, please kindly unmute. While we are waiting for Dr. Mefo, remember that you can join this conversation simply by raising a virtual hand. Try to accommodate as much questions, comments, and opinions on today's topic. We are still talking about the Igbo leaders' request for an unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu as leader of the Indigenous people of Biafra. We have heard questions from various people, from various participants at some different stands, some in support and some totally against it. We're trying to get the convener of a socio-cultural group as Igbo. So let us know his opinions on this, but it seems his network is not allowing him to join today's conversation. Dr. Mefo, if you can hear me, please kindly unmute.
All right. If Dr. Mefo, let me ask another question about what Buhari said during the meeting. it appears Buhari sounded conciliatory. Don't you think so? When he says, you know what, it's a heavy thing for you to ask me to do this. But since it is coming from people like this, people like 95-year-old nationalist leader, I think I will have to think about it. Do you think Buhari will really consider unconditional release for Nnamdi Kanu, going by what happened today?
Yeah. You see, he's one person that if he tells you things like that, he might try to wade into it and ask them the condition. And on the part of the leaders, they should keep the tempo on. They shouldn't just go back home and said we have met the president and sing kumbaya. No. They should try as much as possible to try and see him again in December on this same issue. Let them keep pressing. Let them make sure that he really has weighed into the matter. Because of course, since he has promised, he will ask the DSS to give him an information on what's going on, and from there, he would see what he can do. But seeing what he can do, by the time the information is on his table, they should also go back. You understand? Go back and still knock at his door on what do you think we should do? What do you think is the solution? If he needs any advice or he wants them to say anything, he might even end up telling them something they don't even know, So I think it's important they keep tab of the president in this few days, At least if they can find their ways, they should see him another time or twice before the court case.
All right, let us hear from Dr. Mefo. Dr. Mefo.
Hi. Hello.
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Did you hear me before?
Yeah, I was trying to follow. I was in a noisy place, so I couldn't really come on, even though I was listening to the conversation.
Okay, so what is your thought on the subject matter today?
Well, for me, it was a very important move to show concern and demonstrate to the federal government of Nigeria that Nnamdi Kanu is not walking alone. It's very fundamental because all along, the impression created is that there is a disconnect between Biafra agitators and the elders and political leaders of Igbo land. So the move today, led by the non-Nigerian Mbazulike Amechi, the boy is good, is quite significant. I have one or two observations. One is that I think the delegation seemed not to be fully constituted. I didn't see Ohaneze. It's very important. I had expected to see the President General of Ohaneze. I would have also have felt a lot lighter if I saw somebody like Ofala or Kabwe there, the Obi of Furniture, Naimeka Achebe, sorry, and some others. So for me, the institutional base of Igbo land appeared to be missing, and I just pray that they don't see it as very fundamental. But it's not a good signal. I don't think such a move should be made without Ohaneze, and we would not be presenting ourselves to the outside world as a divided house. Some important Igbo leaders are there. Like I said, we saw Mbazurike Amechi, 92 years, or perhaps more. Emeke Zife, these are very important Igbo leaders. But the Igbo apex body, or Hanese, fundamentally needed to have been represented. Very important. That said, I also think that the request they made was in order. Let our son go. Well, from what I know, concerning the workings of government in a presidential democracy, the principles of separation of powers, and the limits of the president of the country to direct an arm of government to act in a particular manner, the legality of it, even if he wishes to do so, and all that. These are things we have to put in perspective in weighing our expectations. It's very important so that we don't get frustrated along the line. The point I'm trying to make is that President Buhari will never direct the court to release Nnamdi Kanu. It's not done that way. But he can initiate some behind the scene moves, and of course, also direct the Attorney General of the Federation to enter what you call a null prosecution. And it's often done when the state enters a kind of withdrawal in a matter they initiated. Because it is a criminal offense, as they charged it, they can also initiate the withdrawal. So to that extent, the president can, through the office of the Attorney General, initiate a process of discontinuing the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. But, you know, the question we have to address our minds to is, if you really did a content analysis of the position of the president, what he told the Igbo delegation, he said that, look, your request is a difficult one. He didn't say it was impossible. That means there is a chance. Very important. Like my brother, the last speaker said, he said we shouldn't just go home and sing Kumbaya and thinking that we are home and dry. It's not true. A lot of work still has to be done. You see, let me say one thing to us. Nobody should expect Buhari to release Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. That isn't going to happen. If it happens, I will be shocked. I will be surprised. He will not. He can grant bail. He can push for bail. That means it has to be a conditional release. You see, the reason is this. He would want the reasons that push the government to rearrest him, going to the extent of having him extraordinarily renditioned back to Nigeria, back to the court to continue his trial. It's very fundamental. He said so today that he felt it was the best for him to come face the trial rather than stay abroad and be saying the things he was saying. These were the words of Buhari. So if he is saying that he has to leave, he has to have a total turnaround, it means that whoever is taking him out on bail must guarantee that such must be. And what are the likely conditions that the federal government will put on the table? Supposing the federal government insists that Nnamdi Kanu will have to shut down Radio Biafra, and IPOB will have to shut down Eastern Security Network. There are several conditions that the Nnamdi Kanu I know would find very, very difficult to really accept. So it's going to be a very long walk, to freedom. And if I were him also, I would find it very difficult accepting such conditions. I have reached out to some people I know who are up there, and their thinking is not too far from what I am saying. I don't believe they will just release Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igbo unconditionally. No, they will give bail. And the bail will carry conditions. And it's not the first time it is happening. It happened before in 2017, I think. We were able to push through his release on detention. I was part of the process that made that possible. I was in Kuje prison with Soludo and others. And we had later addressed the World Press Conference, the very first one of Igbo leaders that attempted to begin to push the government to look in the direction of what you may call political solutions. So that history can repeat itself. But don't forget that the conditions that were given were very stringent. And there was no way Nnamdi Kanu could have kept those conditions. For example, one of the conditions said that Nnamdi Kanu would not be found in the company of more than 10 persons. Even his household could be more than 10. So these are impossible conditions. He accepted them. He came out. He saw he couldn't, stay with those conditions. He violated them. And before we knew it, there was the problem of a Python dance too, and invasion of his family home, where people were even killed, and he managed to escape and went underground for 1 whole year and resurfaced in Israel. If that history repeats itself and conditions are given, as I believe would be the case again, conditions will be given. It will never be unconditional. Mark today. Now, again, if it's released unconditionally, then I need to revisit my international relations books. I'm telling you, it won't work. They will not. If I were Buhari, I also will not release him unconditionally. Now, it means that he will be granted bail conditionally. He will come out. He will, because the conditions will not be fair as always. He is likely to violate those conditions, and this whole process will repeat itself. But for me, it is okay. Let him even come out to be able to look at himself, because the more he stays there, it's not good for him. He is degenerating. He's already in his 50s. I know I am in my 50s. We are about the same, the same age bracket, and I know that I am no longer as strong as I used to be. In my freedom, I eat what I want, sleep when I want, and all that. And then now the Kanu is held in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, unless the lawyers are lying. Do you know what that means? No access to light, to the world, to sensation. These things are weighing down on him as a person, on the biology, the physiology, the psychology, his humanity. So I would want him to accept conditional release. This is what I am advising. They won't give him unconditional release. If they give him unconditional release, we thank God for the miracle. But in the likely event that he is given conditional release, he should accept whatever condition and just come out and do something about himself. If he is free, he will be able to approach, approach proper medical facilities to really look at himself and know how to begin to repair the damages that have occurred since his rendition. This is very fundamental. And finally, I want to also say that the struggle itself, has been moving on well. But, the issue of sit at home has been badly managed. It has not been applied properly. I said it before, and I repeat it, sit at home can only carry weight and have political meaning if done the day Nnamdi Kanu is going to court. And done in Abuja, I am sure that the Igbo business community in Abuja can shut down their shops between to 12 noon. Every day he is going to, and the political capital of Nigeria, Abuja, will feel it. Shutting down the economy of the Southeast, nobody in Nigeria is aware of it. We are the ones suffering it. And my fellow Biafra agitators, because I am one, I advise again that the economy of the Southeast is not a federal government economy. It's not even the economy of Nigeria. We built the Southeast after the war out of our sweat. Nobody is helping us. If we cripple and crash our economy, nobody will help us still. We need to direct the seat at home appropriately. The days Nnamdi Kanu will go to court, and in Abuja, make sure it is in Abuja. Those of us in Abuja will help in mobilizing maximally to ensure that the Igbo community in Nigeria shows sufficient concern. We want to see, we want to see the media cover thousands of the Igbos in Abuja, thronging the streets. They need to see that the roads to the courts, are really lined up with Igbos who are there waiting to see Nnamdi Kanu pass or return. That is political pressure. That is the kind of thing we should do. We don't need to cripple our own economy, thinking we are punishing anybody. They don't care. They want our economy to crash. They want our economy to die. And we are helping them to realize that. And whoever knows the unknown gunmen, they have made their marks. They need to also know they are not helping the struggle the way it is, because they are opening the doors to the enemies. They will destroy our place. They have made their marks. Whoever they are, we don't need it anymore. We need to return to the original foundation of the Biafra struggle, which has always been a non-violent struggle. That is the kind of struggle some of us are prepared to be party and part of. And more importantly, we also need to keep an open door, because I believe that what is responsible for these agitations, Biafra, Oduduwa, even the Boko Haram agitation, as far as I am concerned, they are all agitations based on exclusionism. I believe that if Nigerian federalism is restored and Igbo land has enough political space to re-engineer itself, to rediscover itself, to reinvent itself, the Biafra struggle will de-escalate naturally. But if restoring Nigeria to federalism, restructuring Nigeria is not possible, then sovereign state of Biafra becomes inevitable. This has always been my position and the position of the generality of Igbo. So let us congratulate. We'll congratulate the Mbazulike team. Let them reconnect with Ohanese and be certain that the process is continued. Let Igbo political leaders, cultural, religious, and others, nobody should take credit for this. It is, we are all winners in this. Because I know our people. Before you know what is happening, the National Assembly caucus that has been trying to push for the same thing will begin to withdraw. Before you know what is happening, Ohanese will start to withdraw. We don't want anybody withdrawing. They need to all key in. They need to all start and continue from where the Mbazulike Amoechi team stopped. That's my intervention. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lomefo. Remember that this is an open discussion, but it seems we are out of time. And today we have been discussing the Igbo leaders' request for an unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of Indigenous people Biafra. But before I conclude, let's hear from Kenny Major. I would have loved to hear from Mr. Hassan, but it seems he has left. Kenny Major, any last words before we conclude?
Yes, I would like to say that it's nice, commendable for this political solution, but I think it's a reinventing of the wheel, because the last case Nnamdi Kanu had between 2015 to 2017, it also ended with some kind of political solution where he came out on bail. And even if he had violated the conditions of his bail, it is not the army's job or the executive's arm of government to go and try to say, oh, because he has violated the conditions of his bail, that they could just, storm his house and invade his residence, his father's residence. So I would say that this political solution has been done, and if the executive arm do not interfere, if he's released conditionally or unconditionally or whatever, and if he violates it again, or whatever conditions are put into place, let the judicial arm of the government be taxed to handle their process to the very end. The army, DSS, whichever security agency, should not take it upon themselves. I'm sure they did not do what they did out of their own volition. They were given marching orders by whoever is at the top. So if they do not interfere again, then I think we will be heading somewhere. We will not have a repeat of what happened in 2017 all over again. So I also commend those who went out to do this political solution. But if the executive arm do not interfere again, just like they did in 2017, then we will see lasting solutions, at least heading towards somewhere. This is my piece. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that's as much as we can take on today's open discussion. We have been talking about the Igbo leaders' request for an unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu as leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. So that thanks everybody that contributed to this discussion: Kenny Major, Mr. Alwan Hassan, and Dr. Lomefo, Honorable Sunday, and every other person that participated in today's conversation. Remember to also follow News.Band Television on YouTube and Facebook, where this program was live streamed. And for me, Augusta Nneka, is good night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I thank you very much. Please, Mr. Kenny Major, I sent you a direct message. I need to get your contact, if you don't mind.
I'll send you a message on WhatsApp, sir.
All right, thank you very much. All right, good night, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Mefo. Thank you, guys.
Good night, Dan. Good night, Danny.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job.